Hello and welcome everyone. Welcome to our monthly sessions, and I'm very happy to have our sessions ongoing. And I'm very happy that the participants look forward for various topics in the session, either from the technology perspective or from the GST perspective. This is our 94th GST update, and today we are going to have two interesting topics. One from Ashika on GST audits, a very practical insights and how the department is going to scrutinize and review. If you notice, GSTR 9C was earlier as an audit done by a CA, but now that has kind of become a self-driven. And every time I tell all SSCs, irrespective whether the department has taken the 9 and 9C mandatory or optional, it is better one takes a review opinion of a chartered accountants every year. Reason being, when a SSC does his own assessment, they have done to the best of their interest and best of the information available to them. Today, businesses are becoming complex and law is also evolving and changing. What is the position of GST which was there on 1st July 2017 definitely may not hold today. In fact, if I have to give you a classic example, standing in a session in July 17, if you have heard from me on the input tax credit, I would have vocally said that it's okay, go ahead and take the input tax credit if you have a valid purchase bill. You have made the payment to the vendor. It's up to him to upload in his GSTR1 or not, right? But today, do we say that? Over the period, we had GSTR2A coming in, 2B coming in, now the IMS being there. The procedures have changed, right? The way the department would look at the various aspects have changed. Now, once in a while, you get your accounts reviewed by a professional, good for you. As a professional, including me, regularly attending a GST learning sessions, out of whole of today's session, there might be one point that would have given a value addition to you. That would strike you that when you go back, maybe I need to maintain the books of accounts in this way. All right. So those are the various aspects that we need to look into. And fundamentally, GST is an indirect tax. That means you are collecting taxes from your customers and paying it to the government. So it's not a cost to you. While you are making a purchase, you are paying the GST to the vendor, who is in turn paying to the government. And even that's not a cost because you are getting an input tax credit. The problem comes in is when you make a wrong assessment. What do you mean by wrong assessment? You thought the goods might be exempted or the goods are taxed at 5%, whatever. But actually it is ended up paying say 12%, 18%. Can you go back to your customer and collect the money? The answer is no. Especially in B2C, for sure no. In a B2B, you can negotiate, raise a debit note and collect the money. But the time when the department is doing the audit and they are now looking for the additional payment, how do you mitigate your cash flow? Likewise, an input tax credit, you thought not available and you have not availed. But maybe it is available to you and vice versa. And while reporting, we have various tables. In table 4 of GSTR 3B, you would have made an error. It's what we are speaking is on the face of it appears to be simple. But when department is now getting deeper, asking information of each and every item, a documentation for them, right? So you need to know what documents that needs to be available, what workings that needs to be made available to you and to the department, how long you have to keep these documents. When an officer is asking a question, to what extent you should share the information? Is a reconciliation your obligation or department obligation? The various aspects that needs to be looked into, right? And during the course of our discussion, Ashika is going to take us various facets of it, and I'm here throughout the discussion. That would be first part of our discussion. And in the second part, we have Shishir, who would be actually walking us that what are the AI tools one has to look at to enhance the efficiency and decision making for a finance professional. Yeah, these are the various aspects that we are going to look at it. It's 3:05. Approximately, we would be completing the session around 5:30. The intention is each and everyone who are here, go back that having all your questions being answered. So if you have any question, feel free to put the question in the chat. At an appropriate time, we will unmute. You can ask your question, but get all your points clarified and only then you leave. Yeah. With this, I welcome Ashika to take the first part of today's discussion. Ashika, over to you.
I hope screen is visible.
Yes, Ashika.
So, hi, good afternoon to all. Now we are seeing financial year 21-22 is being taken up for audit, and department is seeking various detail, raising various observation, and we are replying to it. And 30th September is the last date for issuance of show cause notice for the financial year 21-22. So it's too much of correspondence now going on with the department, as department also have to make sure they conclude their audit by 31st August. And why it is, we will be discussing in our subsequent part. Today, purpose of taking this topic and to discuss is to give you more practical insight instead of discussing theory. But first, we will quickly go through the what's the legal framework and audit process involved. Because if we know that, we will be knowing how it to be done, when it to be done, and when it will be completed. As we say, we should know the thing, then only we can give what is required for it. So proceeding with that, now if we see the audit part under GST, there are three types of audits specified. One is under section 35, which was with regard to audit by a CA or CMA, where the GSTR 9C required to be self-certified by an auditor. Now this one is now no longer applicable. It has been omitted. So now what we are left with is only two. That is a general audit, which is under 65, and a special audit under section 66. Now, general audit is the audit for which we get maximum time notices, which is in ADT 01. Special audit is the one which is taken in a specific circumstance. Here, the officer, commissioner, basically appoint a CA and CAMA to do the audit of the taxpayer. But this time, audit of the taxpayer, which CA and CMA is doing from the department point of view. So their purpose is to look into all the lacuna, all the lapses which they have accounted while doing the verification and inform it to the audit officer. So here CA and CMA is not working for you, but working from the department side. Special audit notices are very rarely issued because it's all depend upon the complex how the books is maintained, where the books are maintained in a complex situation which required an expert to be look into it, then they appoint a CA and CMA. Otherwise, most of the cases, it is what the general audit, in which audit is carried out by the officer. Now I am using the word audit, audit, audit. Now what does audit means? In the law, they have specifically defined, and they are saying it will be regarded as examination of records, return, documents maintained or furnished by the registered person. So the person upon whom they are going to do audit, whatever the details they are maintaining, based on that, it will be done. So it will neither be like third party information. If you will see, there is a section, summons section is there, 70, 67 investigation is there. So there can be a scenario where based on third party information, proceeding is carried out against another person, but it is not like audit. In audit, it is only based on the records which are maintained by that person upon whom audit notice is issued, is what it is verified and accordingly taken in the process. So here no third party information is taken. When I am saying third party information, I am not talking about the income tax record. Third party means another party summon or based on another party investigation. Audit is generally not taken, or even if it taken, but it is concluded based on the records of the person upon whom audit is conducted. Now, here, audit can be done of the person who are registered. So, if a person is unregistered, audit notice will not be issued to them. Even if it is issued, you can obviously counter it saying that I am not a registered person, so you can't invoke audit under 65. For unregistered person, there is a separate assessment which is dealt by section 63, assessment of non-registered. Even there is a provision for investigation in 67. If they feel that even though you are unregistered, liable for registration, then they will take the proceeding under different section, but not under audit. To take under audit, you should be a registered person, then only they can issue you a or consider you under the audit purpose. Now over here, if you will see, we read records, return, document, maintained or furnished by the registered person under this act or rule or under any other law for time being in force. So the document which we are required to maintain under GST Act, if officer is asking for those documents, that is fine. Okay, these are the details which is required by GST law. Based on that verification, they are doing okay. But it also comes with one more additional power to the officer, that they can also call for the document which, though you are not liable under GST, but you are liable under other law like Income Tax, Companies Act, or other FEMA Act, any other act where you are required to maintain any other documents, that also they can ask for the purpose of carrying out GST audit. So it is expanding their scope for examination. So we can't challenge that. If we see the section 35 and 36, which deals with the document to be maintained under GST Act, over there accounts and record are very minimum. But the moment they have included that it need to also consider the document which is maintained under any other law, they have got a wide scope to do the audit. So they can verify each and other document which you are required to maintain under any other act. Then we understood their purpose is to examine. But why they are examined? They are examined to verify what? Whether there is a short payment, not payment, ITC wrongly availed, irregularly availed, or block credit availed, or if there is a refund you have claimed but wasn't eligible to claim, or it may be a part amount ineligible, or refund may be even time barred. So they have to verify all these points. But the point which I discussed basically deals with the number where there is a non-payment, short payment. But their verification is not just limited to numbers, how much tax collection to be made. They have to also make sure other compliances which you are required under law, have you done it or not? What are other compliances? Whether you are doing e-invoice is applicable or not. Have you raised e-way bill wherever applicable or not? Like in case of registration, you have to make sure outside your office, there should be a board of your company or a firm, and there should be GST number written on it. So if this small procedure non-compliances also, they have to verify. And obviously, if they file there are procedural lapses, they have been given the power to levy a general penalty of 50K. So even though it's a general penalty, but quantum is too high, if we see each and every small offense, and if officers started quantify this, even this general penalty can comes in lakhs. So we need to be careful when they came for audit. We should not just focus on the figure also. We should also see other compliances. That tax invoice, as per Rule 46, should have all the component which is required to be there. If there is a missing, then also they can say that there is a procedural lapse. These are small procedure and technical lapse, though there will be a fight that imposing of this general penalty of 50K is too high, but it's a different case altogether when we go into litigation and we fight for all this thing. But prima facie, what I am trying to say is when they are examining your books of accounts, or they are doing your audit, it doesn't mean their focus is just on the figure part. They are also checking whether the other compliances which you are required to do, have you done it or not, like ISD registration, have you taken or not? For that also, they can impose the general penalty. So when the audit comes, our major focus only shifted that we should make sure reconciliation are proper. We should check that my R1 is matching with 3B. My 2A should be more than 3B. Only checking of those things will not work. Other compliances, procedure compliances, which has been prescribed, also need to be followed. On what basis the department basically select the SSCs? Now, unlike earlier, department is also now equipped with the softwares and all. So there is specific scientific analysis keep on going, and based on that, it is decided that this person will be selected for audit, and various mechanism or method they use. Like, there is a certain hike in the turnover, how much the tax they are paying in cash and ITC, what is their profit margin is happening, how much is their non-GST expense versus GST expense. So multiple things they are checking in order to verify whether you should be selected for audit or not. So basically based on erratic data behavior, they decide whether you will be selected for audit or not. So you have to check if there is a certain spike, it can be because due to COVID, many business turnover goes have gone low, and after that automatically it started reviving. Because of that also many people have been got selected, but obviously there is a genuine reason which can be justified and which can be shown through the documents and paperwork. Now when the audit start, the first thing which we get is ADT 01. We have been issued one form where we are being intimated that we have been selected for audit, where we are also informed that for which period we have been selected for audit. Based on the period mentioned in it, we are required to submit a document. And what we get one annexure, which is like an extensive list. And this list is given irrespective of the fact whether it is applicable or not applicable. So a huge list we get. Based on that, we are asked to submit all those documents. So this is just an illustrative list. It's just a sample example of the document they are asking, where they ask for financial record, statutory register, GST return filing, supporting commercial document, and various reconciliation. But if we see our GST law, it prescribes only minimum record to be maintained, which is under 35 and 36. So if you see minimum record, what they are asking us, if I am into a manufacturing business, they are asking us to maintain the details of the productions, then inward outward supply of goods or services, stock of goods, ITC availed, output tax payable and paid, such other particular as may be prescribed. This is basically basic detail which is linked to my business, because if I am doing job work or I am giving job work, so I should be maintaining the record of job work related. If I am into goods industry, so I should be having a detail of e-way bill. So based on those requirements, I have to maintain the records. And these records are required to be maintained at least for 6 years. So for 72 months, we have to maintain this record, and it is from due date. So I have written specifically only for 21-22. So 21-22 annual return is December 22. So based on that 6 year, you have to maintain the record till 2028. Now, why I am saying, if we see under GST law, this is the minimum requirement of document we have to maintain. But if we see the list which the officer issues, they give us such a big list of the documents which is not even prescribed under GST law. And for this, they get power from this audit definition, which I said you, any other law for time being in force. So though you are not liable to maintain income tax return or tax audit report under GST, but under Income Tax Act, you are liable to maintain that. Your ROC forms, that also officer can ask, because under Companies Act, you have to do those needfuls. So by using this word, they expanded, and therefore they can verify unlimited. So they can verify multiple documents based on this provision. So with this understanding, let us what the process involved, and then we will take into the practical part. So as we discuss, based on rigs parameter, you will be selected. And after that, the first thing which we get if we are selected for audit is Form ADT 01, where we have been intimated that we have been selected for audit for this period. Now, this period, when I am saying, it's not important that it will be a single year, even for audit for multiple year can be done, and which is well provided under the law. So you can't question whether it should be one year audit or can 4 year can be done together. 4 year also can be done together under a single audit. With this ADT 1, we have been given a 15 days time limit to submit the documents. This 15 days time limit is not a strict, I will not say it is very stringent. Obviously, we can submit part of the document and then ask some time to submit the balance document. But we were giving 15 days prior intimation basically to inform that we have been selected for audit. Now, audit can be of two types, desk audit or visit audit. When I say desk audit, it means this audit will be conducted by the officer at his own office, means at the department. And when it is written as visit audit, it means they will come visit to your place and then do the audit. So if the moment you will receive ADT 01, you will notice over there they mention that you are required to submit all this document by this date to our office, which means that they are saying you have been selected for tax audit, you come and submit my the document. Otherwise, it will be written, you have been selected for audit and we are going to come from this to this day to conduct the audit, which means visit audit, that they are going to visit on this and they want you to keep all this document ready for it. Once you have submitted the documents, then the process of verification and obviously correspondence between the department and you started. Based on the document you submitted, based on the discrepancy or whatever issue they notice, they will issue you a audit observation. And they will give you at least 15 days time limit to reply to that audit observation. Under law, there is no days prescribed to reply to audit observation. There is no minimum period given. Unlike like show cause notice and all, there is given that you should provide at least 30 days to reply. But for audit observation, there is no time limit to reply. But as a principle of natural justice, as an opportunity they are giving, it is expected at least 15 days they should provide us to submit the reply to audit observation. Based on your reply, now they will conclude whether they accept what you submitted or they are in disagreement with what you submitted. Whatever may be their conclusion, we will be getting an audit report in ADT 02, which will be basically consist of what the observation they made, what the reply you submitted, and then they are concluding it that whether they agreed with your reply submitted or they disagree with the reply submitted. This will be the final audit report which they issue and whereby the part of audit get concluded. So here, by issuance of 8202, audit process comes to an end. Now, after ADT02 is issued, which is basically a report. So based on those reports, recovery can't be made. To make a recovery, a show cause notice is required to be issued, which is what we call a post-audit requirement. So once they concluded the audit, based on ADT02, they will issue you a show cause notice. And again, you are given one more opportunity to explain whether you are agreeing to the fact, agreeing to the observation made, or still you are in disagreement. Because it's not the case that if you submitted reply to audit observation as in against, in notice you can accept it also, your option. Because it will depend upon case to case. We have to decide whether we have to pay it and close or we need to fight. Where multiple things are involved to take this decision. Maybe it is of recurring nature. It may be high volume is involved. So based on many things, it is decided whether to fight or whether to pay it and close it. But with audit report, audit get closed. After that, adjudication proceedings start. That is issuance of show cause notice, where they will give you one more opportunity to explain your case. And as they issue ADT02, and they will be obviously mentioning why they have not considered your reply. So based on that, while replying to show cause notice, you can take care of it and you can say that now I am submitting this, or now this is my reason that why I should be given this benefit. Now this whole audit proceeding is need to be completed within 3 months. So there is a time that ADT should be issued prior to 15 days. Means giving us 15 days time limit to prepare for audit. And this audit need to be concluded within 3 months. Though in the provision, it has also been provided that officer can further extend to 3 months more, but with obviously they have to show a sufficient cause of that what happened and why they could not complete it within 3 months. Now, when we say it should be completed within 3 months, now another problem arises. We have noticed that officer issued audit notices in the month of April, January. We also submitted the document. But what we are saying, now when the due date is coming, now they are getting awake. And now they are asking, give me this also, give me this also. This is my audit observation, you didn't submit it. So if we see from the month of April, or if I see if the notice is issued in the month of January, then 3 months is already lapsed. So as they could not complete within 3 months, can I question it? But that will depend whether when 3 months, when they have said it should be done from commencement of audit. And the way the commencement of audit defined under the act is you have to make sure that you have ensured that audit commencement has happened. And that is what I have written as this side. They are saying audit commencement, we will regard it when you have submitted all the document which the officer has asked for, or where the actual institution of the audit is happened at the place of business, whichever is later. So when I have submitted all the documents, now the problem which arises whenever we get ADT01, what we do? We submit part document and part other document we keep on submitting in due course. So due to that, commencement of audit didn't happen because you didn't submitted all the documents within the time limits. To make sure that when he is concluding or when he issuing audit observation, 3 months is over. To ensure that, what you can do is when ADT01 is issued with an annexure, what you can do, you can submit the reply to those annexure one by one, because the annexure is so exhaustive that it can be a case that multiple things are not applicable to you. So you should put one by one, write this like financial submitting, like cost audit report. You should write not applicable if it is not applicable to your case. Sometimes you are into a service industry of information technology, IT, but they will consider as works contract service, or they will ask for JDA. So over there, you should specifically specify that this is not applicable because we are into this industry. So you have to make sure you submit the document at once. If not at once, as soon as possible. You should not delay it, and you should not wait for officer to call for the documents, so that you can counter on the fact that 3 months is over from the commencement of audit. Because if you are delaying from your side, it cannot be said that all the document is submitted. So this is the thing which you need to take care. And obviously, time and again, we have every time said all the documents, whatever you are submitting, it should be properly documented. And you should also in covering letter take the acknowledgement of it that these documents are submitted. There are cases sometimes documents could not be printed and submitted, and we email those documents, or we take it in pen drive and give it. For those also you can put an covering letter, and you can say that these are the document I have shared you by email, this I given you by pen drive. Because when the officer is acknowledging, it is acknowledging on the basis that this document are actually submitted by you. So even though it may not be all the document you will be sending a hard copy, even in soft copy, but you can take one covering letter where you can take the acknowledgement of the fact that these documents are submitted. And this also work as a further correspondence also, because sometimes it has been seen is due to so much of pressure coming to the end of due dates, what the officer overlooks certain documents which are already submitted, and they confirm the demand that these documents are not submitted. So if we have the acknowledgement on all, it work as a defense for us in future proceeding. See, we submitted it unnecessary, he has demanded or proposed the tax liability. So this is with regard to the process part. Now we will be moving one by one to the issues which are involved. Now, while submitting the common, like officer will ask us to submit sales register, correct? We will be also giving our financial to them. Now, while submitting your sales register, I will ask you to verify few things. What are the things? It's okay, B2B transaction, B2C, okay. If there is a shuffling in B2B, B2C, that is also okay, because tax has been paid. This is what officer is more concerned. But where there are concern point which the officer looked into is credit note. If you have issued a credit note, you have to make sure if in sales register given by you, you are giving the breakup of credit note also, that these are the credit note I have raised during the period, because based on credit note, you are reducing your GST liability. So you have to make sure those credit note you have declared in R1 and you have reported in 3B. If you have not reported in R1 and 3B, now the question which arises, you are taking the benefit, okay, even without reporting. As you have not reported, it will not get auto-populated in inward statement GSTR 2A and 2B. As it will not be auto-populated in your recipient GSTR 2A and 2B, it may be a case your recipient may not reverse the ITC on it. So the thing is that credit note comes with one condition. First thing, in order to take the benefit only, it should be reported in R1 and 3B. If it is not reported, you will not get. Even though it is not reported and still you are trying, you have to also make sure your recipient has reversed the ITC. And there are cases even where the places it is reported in R1 and 3B, officer is still asking to give the declaration from the recipient that they have not availed the ITC. Even where the data has been furnished, auto-populated in 2A, they are still asking us to give the declaration. So this is the one thing you have to keep in mind if you are giving the credit note details of issued by you. One. Now, common thing is other income, where most of the people doesn't pay the tax or doesn't see the GST impact. Sometimes other income also have an impact of outward supply that you need to look into it, like sale of fixed asset. So there will be profit or loss. Profit will be accounted in other income. Profit on sale of fixed asset, but tax has not been paid. So that you have to see, because that officer will immediately come to know you are giving your balance sheet. There will be fixed asset register. Over there, we are required to furnish the detail of deletion. Immediately, officer will come to know there is a sale. Now you have to also understand financial year 21-22 audit, though going to complete. Now your audit officer has also become educated. They also know what to check, where to check. So now you need to be also knowing what you have to do or what you have to ensure before submitting the documents. And even if there are lapses, suppose there was a liability you haven't discharged, you can come forward, pay the tax and interest. And it is advisable to pay it because you will be able to save the penalty. Because if they came to know afterward, there may be a case they might convert 73 to 74 because they have the power. It's all depend, they should be able to prove there was intention to evade the tax. So you need to be careful. You have to see how you should move forward. Then in balance sheet, there will be advance from customer. This is also a most common place where most of the SSC doesn't pay GST. Advance received for goods not taxable. You are not liable to pay when you are receiving the advance. But when it comes to service, you have to be careful that on advances on service, you are liable to pay GST as and when received. Now you will say me, ki even though I would not have paid at the time when I received the advance, but I have paid at the time when I have raised the invoice. So if you have done this, then in this circumstance, max to max officer can demand interest due to timing difference of tax payable that you were required to pay in the month of March, you paid in the month of June. So for that differential time, officer will demand interest. They are also now not demanding any tax liability. But what I have noticed is advance of customer is somehow people are using as a adjustment ledgers. So they are keeping this party. There are cases where money has been received and invoices till 25 has not been raised. It is keep lying. Nobody knows what to do. So in such a scenario, you need to be careful. If money is received in bank and still now nothing has been done, future also no plan, means that is no more your party. At the end, you are going to book it as other income only and you are going to pay tax on it. So be careful with these advances. Check it thoroughly. If anything is there in your balance sheet, you have recorded. Because you have to also substantiate to the officer if you are saying you are not liable to pay on it. Then what we classify as exempt and non-GST supply. So over there, if you are classify something as your exempt, you should be ready to give the clarification under which notification, under which head entry number you are claiming and on what basis. It may be a education service or it may be service provided to educational institution. It may be a GTA service, whatever may be the case, but you have to be ready with it. And one more thing, whenever you are submitting your document to the audit officer, it is also advisable you give your nature of business. Even though they ask, not ask, you should specifically write that I am engaged in this type of business, my goods is taxable at this rate, or my service provided is taxable at this rate. Reason being, this will give him the clarity and your harassment will become less. Because if you make him know that this is my nature of business, he will check accordingly instead of checking unnecessary and asking you unnecessary documentation. Then obviously your rate will also determine your ITC eligibility, which is also a major reason you should be thorough with it. Then if in 9C we do reconciliation with financial, and we have a habit of what doing to match the GST turnover with financial, everything we put under any other adjustment in 9C, which is very wrong because there are specific rows given. Based on those table, you should write and properly report instead of reporting everything as any other adjustment in 9C. Even if you have done like that, be ready with those breakup, that what you have done and why you have done, because this is also a most common issue which is raised in audit, which they ask why you did, so that you will be well known before what has happened and how you have to represent it. Then related party disclosure, this is also a place where in balance sheet we have given in notes to account what are my related party transaction. There are cases where the related party transaction has not suffered taxes, that you have to check. Cross charge. If you are a multi GSTN, you have to make sure you are doing cross charge and ISD compliances as applicable to you. This is also an area which is less complied by the people. Then corporate guarantee is the one another area in outward side which they are looking into. And now government is very clear that they want to tax it, even though legal dispute is something else. So if you have a corporate guarantee, check it. Because as on today date, if you have a corporate guarantee and you are eligible to claim ITC, it's better to pay and claim the ITC instead of going into litigation issue. But if ITC is not there, then based on the quantum, you have to take the decision you want to litigate or you want to pay it and close. So these are the outward issue which we have few highlighted for your purpose, that you should check before submitting your details to the audit officer. So you will be in position in knowing what is happening. Now SEZ supply. Now some people are doing SEZ supply with payment, some are doing without payment, but endorsements are missing. Endorsement by SEZ officer. So check it, because in like one of our case, what happened, there was endorsement missing, but client was doing SEZ with payment of tax. So if client is doing with payment of tax, what officer can max demand? It can demand only tax. If endorsement is not there, if it is not finding it is for authorized operation. If I am doing with payment of tax, tax can only be demanded, which is already paid. So there cannot be further issue raised in this case. Then you have to be also thorough with your GST rates. There are cases in few industry where frequent amendment has happened, due to which some clients were not able to cope up with the rate changes. Like for government only, for government undertaking and government authority, from 12 it was made 18. Some client have missed out. They didn't pay the tax at a higher rate. Though these are genuine cases, there was no instance to evade the tax, but obviously department will not leave you and will obviously going to demand you the differential rate. Then one of the recent cases was restaurant service, where based on declared tariff, your GST rate is determined. So as we know, hotels has a habit of quoting something and then discounting and giving some other value. So value was given 10,000 after giving discount of 40%, it was put to 6K. So as till 25, till 25 as GST rate was based on declared tariff. So there are cases where due to this, just because the discount strategy, officer was saying that you should be paying GST at the rate of 18 because it is above 7,500 and not below. So based on this, they were asking 18%. So you have to see which industry you are in, how you are doing, what rates applicable. So all those classification and ITC working, you have to make sure before submitting. So it is always advisable, even though you are doing your in-house compliances, get your books audited at least once, so that you will be knowing if any change in law has come which has impacted you. or which you need to take care, you will be up to date, because cost of litigation is high. When demand is made, it is not just made of tax, it is made with interest and penalty. See, if you see today also, audit of 21-22 is going on. Year which we are standing is 25-26. If we count 21-22, 22-23, 23-24, 24-25, 25-26 half month got. So 3.5 months you have to pay 18% per annum is the interest. So 18 into 3.5 you do. So more than 50% is coming as an interest, around 50%. So it's better to get your books once validated, so you will be knowing any error or anything is done is taken well before the time. So you would not be having such a high cost of interest or penalty. Even that will also work as a paper ready for the audit also. Because if the audit department comes, you have already got your books validated or checked, verified. You will be already ready with all the document which they want for audit purpose. Now coming to the ITC part. So for input tax, major check which you have to do is
Ashika,
whether, yes, sir.
yeah, just go to the previous slide. All right. So, the friends, I wanted to just give a pause and have each one of you reflect into your books of accounts. Now, what is quite common, obvious, everyone will take care of is whatever the monthly invoices that get raised and that is reported. It's perfectly matching with your books of accounts and it is there in the portal, everything is there. Now invoice is there, it is taken care. What is it, sir, that something which will be going to be missing or you will not be aware is the exception transactions that happen. And if you see the first one which is mentioned is about accounted income. There are different industries, different practices that happen. For example, a software industry, they will raise an invoice basis a milestone. But they would be recognizing revenue in the books of accounts basis the time and effort they have spent by way of an unbilled revenue. Or situations where they have raised an invoice in advance, let's say 50% on basis SOW being signed. The moment you got an SOW with an MSA, 50% is raised. Now the invoice is raised, but you know the project is going to take 6 months, 8 months, you will defer the revenue in the books of accounts. Accounting is little different. So every month you also now need to see what is the difference for you other than the accounting. And the classic example which Ashika mentioned is about advances. Advances are lying in your balance sheet. So while you are recognizing and filing monthly returns, you don't pay attention to the advances that you have received. And you really don't know that it is going to convert it into a bill, not bill, you will have to refund, you don't know, right? But for the purpose of GST, the money has come in, kick in, and you agree to provide a supply, you pay tax on it. Government is like TDS, government want money in advance. Now, when you do these adjustments, you should have your own personal template. Let me tell you, your own personal template every month to reconcile a statement with the books of accounts. That is more important. Not just the turnover reconciliation, the reconciliation with the subcategories. What are the subcategories? Some are with the payment of taxes like exports and SEZ, some are without payment of taxes. Some are exempted, some are taxable. Provided to B2B, provided to B2C. Provided at 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%. So you also need to have a subcategory reconciliation on a monthly basis. Because when an audit is going to happen for the full year, this is a consolidation of this. And the next month when you do, you have a YTD data and for the month data. As you are doing it, you will automatically get to know that is there something wrong that's happening. When I say wrong, you're not intentionally doing something wrong. But is there some aspect that you're missing that you need to take care is more important. What we don't pay attention to, look at the invoice, the various aspects in the invoice. The HSN that you are selling, that is not paid attention to. Yesterday, I was discussing to a client who is in the business of tour operations, and he was considering that why should I not treat myself as an accommodation service provider, because someone asked for a room booking, so I booked a hotel for them. Now, what is the HSN that you are dealing matters, because some HSNs have conditions. And if you are taking as an accommodation services, you are at 12%, you are a tour operator, you are at a 5%. Or it could be business support services, which is 18% with ITC. One single transaction has this multiple references and differences. Now, paying attention to HSN important. Next, paying attention to place of supply is also important. There's been a lot of notices. Department is again raising that you should have charged CGST, SGST while you have charged IGST. Especially the software companies are getting this notice saying that, okay, you're selling some space and it is relating to some subscription that you have given. Isn't it the place of supply relating to where you are? That's the question that comes up. So when things like this come up, it's very important you pay attention to other information in your invoice, which is HSN and the place of supply. One other point which Ashika mentioned about is on the e-way bill reconciliation. This is also very neglected area. There are places where e-way bill is done with using delivery challan, but not converted into invoice, or many invoices are raised without having e-way bill. So issues like this definitely happen. You need to have a separate reconciliation report that what is there in the e-way bill data and this, because we never know. Someone may ask, an auditor may ask that, okay, give me a copies of e-bills. You'll say, I don't have it. But now let's say from the portal, you have data you can download, say 3 years, 6 years. Now he is asking you, okay, give me the reconciliation of the e-way bills versus invoices. Now he may ask that. So that is where you got to be having the information handy. So as an accountant, you got to tell this information needs to be maintained on a monthly basis. How, which software, which tool is left to you. But having this reconciled on a monthly basis is very important. Yeah. Any questions to anyone at this point? Anyone of you have any questions to ask? Out of the notices that you have received, do you have any doubt? Okay. If you have a question, put it in the chat. Feel free to put it. We'll continue.
Only the ITC part, where obviously the first check which the officer does is verification with GST 2A or 2B, where they check whether this ITC details which you have given is showing in 2A or 2B or not. Now the SSCs has also got smart. Now they download 2A and 2B and give it as ITC register to the officer. So this mismatch generally doesn't come, but in some cases it is there. Another common issue which they are raising is about if there is a non-filer supplier. So that you have to check, because earlier it was not showing, even though 2A, 2B functionality came, but 3B non-filer were not showing earlier. Now it have started, even for past period, it shows who are non-filer. So you can just check which are your supplier who are non-filer. Based on that, demand can be made. So while giving your ITC register, whether you have avail or not, you have to check that. Then payment within 180 days. This is the most common issue which is raised in audit observation. Now there is two way of addressing. Actually, what is over here concern is whether the transaction on which you have availed the ITC, you have made the payment within 180 days. So basically for in ITC register only, they are asking us to put the payment date. But in multiple cases, they are asking us on closing creditors to give the payment date. because they are assuming that as the creditor who are closing are the one where the can be a situation of more than 180 days can arise, because which are billed during the period, paid during the period, that would not be coming in your closing creditor. So you have to decide the base how you have to give it. Like in one of the scenario, what happened? Officer based on closing creditors asking me to give the payment dates, give me when it was paid. Now there was a huge difference when the invoice was raised and when the payment was made. Reason COVID. Due to COVID, this few creditors which are still coming in 21, 22 belongs to the 1920, 1819s, for which I have not availed any ITC in 21, 22. But these are long due, which we have promised that we will pay the moment our company start reviving. So the client was carry forwarding this creditor and was paying in due course and as and when they were earning. Now, if we see those closing creditor, based on that, if I calculate, I was getting an interest component too high. But if I go to my ITC register and see when I have made my payment to supplier, on those on whom I have availed in 21, 22, it was coming too low. So instead of giving that creditor closing balance payment, we went to ITC payment date on which we have actually availed. Because actually this is what the detail they should seek for, sort for. But the thing is that based on closing creditor, they are asking payment dates. So that is also a one place you need to see what you want to give, whether you want to put in ITC payment date or you want to give closing creditors payment date, based on, because interests do matter. Reason being because ITC register payment date will not give you interest or hardly give you interest, but closing creditor may give you an interest liability. Payment may not be made within 180 days. So that is what you have to also check at this place. But I know that there are cases where volume of business is so high that to put every transaction payment date is a difficult. So that's a call which you need to take. And when you are giving the details of payment within 180 days, one more component which you can add is that ITC avail in 21, 22, yes or no. So even though payment is made beyond 180 days and you write ITC in 21, 22 not avail, officer will definitely ignore it. Reason being, you already submitted the ITC register. So you can say to the officer, sir, you can check in my ITC register, this party is not appearing. So I have not availed 21, 22, even though there is a delay of payment more than 180 days. So no consequence should be there, because this payment within 180 days consequence is for credit and it will arise only on those creditor on whom you have availed the ITC. So here also there is one thing which you need to look into it. First, whether you want to give ITC register payment date or you want to give closing creditor. Second, you should also write for ITC avail or not avail. This all detail will help you because this non-compliance relate to ITC part. So where I have not availed the ITC, how you can demand me anything. Further, there may be a case even the payment is beyond 180 days. It doesn't mean I am liable to reverse the ITC. Because if you will read the rule, it is very clear that the moment I made the payment to my creditor, even though after 180 days, if I made the payment to my creditor even after 180 days, I'm eligible to claim the ITC. Means I will reverse it because I didn't pay. And when I make the payment to the creditor, I will become eligible to reclaim it. So it is only premature availment of ITC, and on that they can demand interest. Now officers are also demanding interest, but in some instance they are even demanding credit reversal where the SSCs are not knowing. So that you can focus and at least you can drop the demand of ITC and ask him to do only interest component. Block credit, obviously 17.5 you have to check, where the common thing which we find is repair maintenance of vehicles are availed. Now the people are careful with construction services, they are avoiding, but some cases some people are even availing till now on construction. part, hardly few rare cases are still coming, but vehicle is the common one. Then one thing more it to be seen is insurance. What happened? The moment officers see the word insurance, they are like, let's disallow the ITC. They don't check whether that insurance relate to what. What is disallow is only health and life insurance under GST. Apart from that, other insurance are eligible: asset insurance, fire insurance, stock insurance, risk insurance. There are so many other commodities of insurance and type of insurance are there. For importing the goods also, for exporting and importing also, people get insurance done. But by seeing the word insurance, department are denying. So if you have claimed any ITC on insurance, which does not relate to life and health, just make sure you have the proper document to explain it that this insurance relate to this fire insurance, so I am duly eligible for it. Then creditor written off, which is also a other income part in balance sheet. So while doing book adjustment, we also do write off of creditors. For that also, they say payment not made within 180 days. So that also need to be checked. Which creditor you are writing off, first you have availed the ITC or not, or it's just something you have written off. So that you have to check. If it's relate to where you have availed the ITC, officer can ask you to reverse the ITC on it, proportionate basis to the extent what you have reverse. Then place of supply mismatch with location of supplier. The thing is that if I am a Karnataka GST, so I should be eligible to ITC only when place of supply is also of Karnataka. Here the classic examples are the restaurant service, restaurant or any of food and beverage specifically disallow, accommodation service. So if you go for some business purpose in Mumbai, that hotel will be charging you CGST and SGST of Maharashtra. So that you can't set off with your Karnataka. So you can't claim ITC of Maharashtra unit in Karnataka. So that is also a common mistake where people still, even though place of supply is not same to supplier place, they are claiming ITC. That need to be checked. ISD distribution. Now recent circular has come. It has given us leniency that people who have not followed in food service distribution, we will not take action. But it is only till 1st April 25. Now from 1st April 25, it need to be complied. So whoever having multi GST, check cross charge and ISD. Cross charge and ISD, it feel like it is used as interchangeable, but it is not, because ISD is for common expenses, means expenses which is procure at head office, but it is used for all the GSTN. And cross charge is basically done for internally generated service or the services which have been procured by HO but for other unit. So, but that need to be checked. If any of you have ISD or cross charge and you are a multi GST, you have to see that applicability, which expense what to classify. Staff welfare, there are cases where puja sweets and all will come and people have claim ITC, so that you have to take care. Expenses under income tax also, we do certain expense disallowance, even personal expense disallowance will be there. So if something you have reported there, just check in income tax return if you have reported whether you have disallowed the ITC or not. Now, if you are engaged in exempt supply, then you have to make sure that you have to make a input reversal to the extent of exempt supply. You can avail only to the taxable. Now, one part I discussed with about the credit note issued. Now, this is about credit note received by you. So if you have received the credit note, obviously it will auto-populate in 2B and it will be showing as a negative ITC. But the problem with officer, what is happening is, they are saying, we have reported net ITC. We have done 100 gross ITC minus credit note 10, 90 is the net ITC. So we are reporting net ITC. Now they are separately demanding this credit note, which is auto-populated in 2B as a reversal. Anyhow, you can show through your working, you can furnish the detail that this I have reported separately. But this I have reported as a net, even though I might not have reported it separately, but I have taken that impact. So that is also one point where generally the audit officer raised the query, even though they are aware that it should not be. Then another classic common issue is wrong head. I claim as CNS, CNS claim as I. Though there is a Kerala High Court judgment that which says that I have to see total credit pool, not just ICS. Because if you will see the law, wherever the word used is input tax credit, nowhere it is used as IGST, CGST, SGST. Only to define ITC it is said, but never the reversal or credit part. It is said to be ICS apart from Rule 42. So it is said that common credit, even though there is a wrong head, ITC should not be disallowed just because of wrong head claim. But department officer does not get agree with it. But if any of such situation is there, you should be careful, see what the quantum is, and accordingly you can take the decision for it.
Ashika,
RC.
on the input tax credit. Okay. Again, the common things the Ashika specifically mentioned, and the officer is going to ask, have you taken this credit? Why have you taken, or why have you not taken this credit? Till 22-23, we had this issue of 3B versus 2A and everything. From kind of 1st January 22, more or less everyone have reconciled. Whatever is there in 2B, everyone were taking. But in between, you get a call from the officer that you have not availed a credit, then avail it now and reverse. So you'll be getting a calls like that. Now you avail that credit and you reverse. The next issue or the question that comes up is where is the track of that? In fact, most of the time, whatever I'm talking is all about, I'm talking about the track information. You reversed some credit, whether 4B1 as a permanent reversal or 4B2 as a temporary reversal. Which line items you have reversed, which line items you have not reversed, you need to have a track. And anything that you have reversed, you will be re-availing, you will be putting that number in 4D1. The moment you put it into 4D1, your electronic credit reclaim statement will come down. So you need to have a track that this is the pending thing which I am availing. Now, when an audit officer is asking in 22-23, you have availed extra, you should have a thing saying that a credit pertaining to that period I have not taken and I am taking now. In midst of so much of confusion, if someone has taken IGST as C plus S or CGST as GST as otherwise, then it will be even more challenging. If you see the last one, claimed under wrong head. So if someone is claiming completely under the wrong head, the department would say that our state has lost the money, and we don't know how they lost the money, we don't know. For you, what? 100 rupees instead of putting into IGST, I have put it as 50 CGST, 50 SGST. Eventually, I have taken 100. Even it would have been IGST, I would have utilized. Even it would have been in C plus S, I would have utilized. There's nothing I have made a mistake. That's how you would look at it. A department would say, no, no, I have, as a state, I have lost the revenue, so I will disallow this. Now, these reconciliations are very important. So you being on the tab of at a macro level, what is the information there, what is that you have done is very important. In the department portal, when you download, you have the tax liability, tax comparison and mismatch. You have to periodically compare, and that is one basis for the audit officers to pick the audit and give the notice, because it will say how much of the tax paid in ITC, paid in cash, mismatch between your R1 and 3B, all that information that would show up. So that is a basis for the audit being assigned also. And the audit officers will have either the less interest or less information to process complex data. Like the Ashika mentioned, the moment they see insurance, okay, this is to be disallowed. So they will make all those points upfront in the audit notes and they will give it off. And if it is not cleared in the audit, when you go for assessment, the first thing assessing officer would say that have you not given this to audit officer? In spite of you giving, has he passed the audit? because the assessing officer wouldn't want to take a risk and consider this. He would think that maybe something we are missing. Like audit officer was supposed to do a detailed check. After doing a detailed verification, if he's saying so much of the ITC to be disallowed and you are now coming and saying to be allowed, that is where he will come into kind of a detailed review. And whenever you are in a doubt, you should get a written opinion. If you feel that the ITC is not eligible for you, or you are confident it is eligible, but the industry is giving another opinion that these goods or services is not eligible, you should get it a written opinion. You should have a document with you. Now, how does it save? At least you can always say that, see, a professional has given me an opinion. Relying upon that, I have done this. So, do not consider this as a case of Section 74 as a fraud, and do not levy penalty. At least you can make a plead saying that it should be 73. And constantly there has to be a training done in the office saying that what are the credits where RCM is applicable, what are the credits where it will not be visible in the invoice, so treat it as exempt. What are the line items it is visible in the invoice, how do I account them? Let's say if I charge it off fully to my P&L without even routing through my credit ledgers, it's another problem, because you haven't routed through credit ledger. Your 4A5 should match with the gross credits that you have taken. You will have problems. So training the accountant as to how an accounting to be done is very important. How I have to know that an item like this, it will not be a credit, will not be there in the invoice. I have to pay myself and take the credit, or it is there but I should not take the credit. You need to have a proper clarity. So at least on the outward, the books are there, everything is there, but for the inward, you have to have a reconciliation. And tools like GST Zen would definitely come in handy. Everyone should use. Even if you have 100 line items, do not rely upon your muscle power of pivot tables, if VLOOKUPs and everything. It has to be a system driven, and you have to have a tab of it. Yeah. Yes, Ashika.
Whatever we're discussing on outward ITC is the check we are expecting that you should do before submitting the document to the officer. So that is what those pointers we are discussing. Now coming to the part of RC. Now you would have seen, after going through your balance sheet, PL expense part, officer will be asking for few ledgers: legal and professional, transportation, freight, or license, rate and taxes. Then security related, if anything you have booked. So traveling ledgers. Why they ask for those ledger? Keeping in mind this RCM. So the few highlighted ones are the one which are the things you have to check before submitting. And the unhighlighted will depend basically on business to business. So if you are into a good industry, there is a high chance of having a transport related expense. So you have to check whether on transportation expenses you have paid under RCM or not. You have to keep in mind in transportation, there was specific exemption of 750 and 1500 earlier, but now it is not there. So for 21-22 exemption was there of 750 and 1500, but from 22 it is not there. So on all transportation on today date, you have to pay irrespective of what the quantum or amount it is. Then legal and professional is basically to check advocate service. So check if any advocate related services you have incurred, then just make sure have you paid or not. Sponsorship service also can be there. It will be mostly in advertisement ledger. So officer will be asking for that ledger. So what I'm trying to say is you should first, if you are aware what are the categories or what are the compliances you have to do, based on what officer is asking, you will immediately pick up, okay, he is asking this ledger, it means he is looking for this. So you need to know what based on what business or what service industry you are in, what type of expenses incurred or what are the output will determine your liability and your ITC eligibility. Then import of service. This is also one area. Here, the thing is that to miss out all the foreign payment done, here you need to be careful. You have to check what are the type of foreign payments you are doing. Based on that, you have to see which may qualify as import of service. And plus, you have to be careful. One is a provision for expense, one is actual payment for expense. RCM is applicable based on payment to supplier. If you don't make payment to your supplier within 60 days, then only invoice date comes. But in expenses, we have a habit of creating a provisions for the period. So just because provision has been created, RCM liability will not come until and unless that expense has been actually incurred or paid for. So that need to be one careful with it. Just because import of some foreign expense you have shown or some expenses you have booked provision. Now by booking provision, it is coming 10 lakh. By excluding provision, it is coming 8 lakh. It is on 8 lakh you have to pay. 2 lakh provision when got converted into actual expense, then only you are liable to pay GST on it. Then for import of service, check if any deduction you have made under section 195 of IT Act. If you have done, just check whether you have paid RCM liability on it or not. Then the security and renting of motor vehicle. So if anything rent a cab related expenses there, you are liable to pay under RCM. Now in this case, it's rent a cab is one of the type where though you are liable to pay tax under RCM, but you are not eligible to claim ITC of it. What the main assumption we do is whatever tax we paid under RCM, we are eligible for ITC. It is a wrong notion. It's not that every time the tax which is paid under RCM is eligible for ITC. One of the exception is rent-a-cap, which is specifically covered under block credit. So even though you are paying under RCM, you can't claim ITC of it. Another is this TDR, transfer of development right, where even though you are paying under RCM, promoter is not eligible to claim ITC. So you have to check these documents based on whatever officer is asking ledger. If you keep this RCM services in mind, you will come to know what officer is looking into it. Now over here, I want to basically discuss how we should address the audit observation issue. Now, I have divided into three parts. One is fact-based, one is interpretational issue, one is procedural issue. Fact-based, when I say, is when they are talking about certain mismatch between the figures. Now, while replying to audit observation, you should always stick to facts only. You should not start putting case law unnecessary. Okay. So while replying to audit observation, even to show cause notice reply also, it is advisable we should put what the fact it is. And if you disagree with some fact, you should write for those things. Instead of putting multiple case law, unnecessary giving explanation which has no relevancy is to be avoided. You should keep it simple. Like just for example, there is a difference between R1 and 3B. Now let us take one circumstance why it has come. Suppose in GST-R1, value has been declared more than what is paid under 3B. That value, that differential tax, you might have paid in next year, or it can be a case you might have paid through DRC 03. So how you should reply? You should keep it very limited and simple. If you paid through DRC 03, you can write simply paid through DRC 03. But if it is paid to next year, you have to also substantiate that in 22-23, there is a excess payment. How you can do? While filing 21-22, if there is a spillover, then we specifically report in part 5 of GSTR 9. So if I have paid this differential tax of 21-22 in 22-23, I would have reported in table 10 of GSTR 9, first thing. So that you can bring. Then in 22-23, the most common thing, if you will notice, every time officer will go into GST portal and download tax comparison sheet. which is their every time base for issuing audit observation, prima facie. So if 22-23 you have paid, then obviously which month you have paid, that month 3B will be more than R1. So you can also download the tax comparison of 22-23, put it as a supporting and show to the officer, see in the month of June, I have paid in GSTR 3B and it's you can see R1 is lower, 3B is higher. So in that way, you can give your explanation with the figures and supporting. So you have to see if it is in relation to fact, you should stick to facts only, and unnecessary, you should not put the things, timing difference and all those things. The simpler the way you make for the officer, you are also doing that work simpler for you also. So how small, neat, clean you give the reply. We have a habit of making a detailed reply and all we should not do. We should stick to the point what asked, that should be only answered in a very plain and simple language, unnecessary making it complicated. Because if we make harder for them, they will also make hard. Obviously, you will get a huge audit observation, huge issue with huge demand. So simple will work much better. Then if there is an interpretation issue, then you have to decide where to stop. You will simply, here also you can do one thing, you can simply put the facts that why you are saying this should be considered as this instead of putting and bringing the case law. So you can just give explanation or justification why you consider like place of supply, why you consider as interstate instead of intrastate by just quoting the law part that I come under this category of service. This category of service says place or supply this. Accordingly, I did this. And to support it, you can give work order, invoice copy. And it's always advisable wherever you are giving explanation to the extent possible, you should give all the supporting document because it will help you in future course. What happened? When we submit all this reply, audit observation, the first thing the officer asks when we move to another level, have you submitted this to the lower officer? Have this was submitted to audit officer? Have this explained it? If you show this were explained and then also not consider, it work in your favor. Because then officer understand that these are the situation. But if they feel that you are non-cooperative, somehow you will also find their way of dealing with you also get changed. Then procedure and compliance issue is what we said if invoice is not raised properly, there is delay in filing of LUT. So this all also you have to see how you have to reply because just because there is some procedure lapse, you can argue that general penalty should not be invoked. You can take the help of section 126, which says that for minor compliances, so much of penalty should not be taken. Lenient view should be taken for it. So those part you have to take care. And in audit observation, you should always keep it small and crisp. You should not go into details and all, and should stick to facts only. You should not unnecessary, and you should not put too much of law also. Unnecessary putting where the officer also know what it is. He's just asking you give this. It's better to give this and close it off. Like one of the scenario, officer is saying this much of ITC is to be disallowed because it is ineligible. Now, your contention is you have not availed the ITC, but unnecessary you are quoting 17.5. You are saying this expenses does not fall. But when you have not availed the ITC, why to put all this point? You simply give your ITC register, say to the officer, verify my ITC register, this transaction I have not availed, and end the story there. This is with regard to about the what are the precaution you should send in the reply, which I have already covered. That whatever document you submit, make sure you have acknowledgement. You should give the reply issue wise. Okay, you should not give in the clumsy manner. Issue one, this is asked, this is what my reply is. Okay, so it should be very neatly done. Then as I said, you should focus wherever differential mismatch issues are there. You should give more factual backing. Unnecessary should not pour unnecessary things. You should not deposit amount under pressure. If audit officer is saying this benefit, that benefit and all, you pay the tax. Don't do that. Take legal help, consult, get the answer. Even where you feel you want to pay also, then also take a legal position so that you can decide whether to pay the tax or not. Because sometimes it happened in this year, it may be coming quantum is low on the same head, but in the next year it may be higher due to recurring nature. So that what you have to be careful of it. Then you should also check who is the proper officer to do the audit. And if any parallel audit or investigation is going on, you can obviously inform the audit officer that I have been already selected for audit by this officer, or I have been subjected to investigation. Then audit officer, by considering your submission, will drop the proceeding. Generally, they try to avoid to do simultaneously 2 or 3 proceeding until and unless they have some information and that is not checked by that another officer.
Ashika, one
Yeah.
point which I want to also add. Uh, Ashika clearly has mentioned to all of you that do not deposit any amount under pressure. The officers sometimes say that, okay, there is a target we need to achieve, we need to do it, all those things. So you got to be, whatever you are doing, you got to have an advice from an expert as to what should be the best way to do. One other point which I want to emphasize, not specifically there here, stick to the point. Like where she said issue-wise specific submission, you don't need to explain a point which no one has asked. When you always try to specifically stick to the issue as you are submitting, so you don't need to go around and give information under either over enthusiasm or too good to the officer so that okay everything is taken. No, nothing like that. But trust me that never is the officer a friend with you, right? So be to the point. Whatever they have asked, you give that information to them. Yes, Ashika.
Now we discussed the reply part. Now why we need to be careful with reply is due to section 160. Now in reply you have to also make sure you counter whatever need to be countered before proceeding ahead. If there is, you feel if there is any defect in the proceeding carried out and you didn't counter it at that time and you continue with the reply, then you can't counter it afterward because law deprive you of that. Further, when any notice and all has been served and you are like, I didn't receive, but you are still continuing the communication, means even if you are saying didn't receive, but you are still submitting all the documents also, then also you lose your right to counter the non-service. So what tactic you use, how you plan to go ahead with your audit or any of the notices reply, you have to decide at the first instant itself. Either you want to dispute on a technical point or you want to go directly on merit. Because whatever route you choose will obviously somehow will have impact on your right which is given by law. Then now why we say whatever the supporting document, explanation or reply you want to give, you give it now only itself, because law says that I will not accept additional evidence. Now this happened in the case of mostly appeal. For proceeding before appeal, most of the time department officer take the even the evidence, even the document or supporting you didn't submit it before the lower officer also they accept. But the moment the appeal start, they will definitely going to ask whether it was submitted before or not. If it is not submitted, it is on the discretion of appeal officer to accept it or not. There are only certain circumstances or exception it is given that when even though it is not submitted, additional evidence can be taken by the appeal officer. So you need to be careful, whatever be your explanation, clarification, you submit with all the supporting documents and whatever you want to counter, so that in future, if it been asked, there will be no problem arise. Obviously, then wrong case law, wrong interpretation. That's the reason. See, today one decision came of High Court may be appearing favorable to you. like which is what happened in the case of block credit construction service. When High Court given the decision, Odisha High Court, people were okay, there is a chance to avail the ITC. And the moment it went to Supreme Court, I will not say that it fully turned around, but somehow Supreme Court also said that ITC is not fully allowable, subject to certain conditions. So you should not started quoting case law at the initial level itself, because you don't know. There may be a case, multiple courts are there, some in favor, some in against. So you need to be careful what case decision, if you are taking in your favor, whether to take it or not. Because today what may be appearing to be favorable may turn around also. So that's the reason in initial reply, we try to say that we should not quote case law and all. We should try more on facts to explain until and unless it's an interpretational issue where you require to substantiate it, how it to be read. Now, audit done, audit report issued. Now what will happen? So the moment officer issued ADT02, now it is what the decision management has to take it, how they want to go about it. It may be a case they might plan to accept it and close it. So then they can pay through DRC03. They can intimate the officer about that payment done and case will be closed. But it may also be a case that of SSC may not agree. They may decide that I want to fight it further ahead. Then there will be pre-consultancy notice will be issued in DRC01A, giving you one opportunity once again before they convert into adjudication proceeding or show cause notice is issued, that whether you agreed or not agreed. So you are given one more opportunity to explain whether you want to pay or dispute. And if you go ahead that I don't want to pay, then they will proceed with the notice under 73 or 74. So they will issue your show cause notice and adjudication proceeding will begin. But at the DRC01A level also, you can decide that you want to pay and close. So you can pay and close it off. Now this is just due dates and deadline. Now you will be seeing for 21-22. Now officers are just in too much of pressure that by 31st August they have to close. But if you will see under 73, SCN is issued by 30th September. So if SCN is to be issued by September, why they are too much in pressure that they have to close by 31st August is because of this. So they have to make sure they issue the audit observation before 31st August. Because as I told you, they can't give me 2 days, 3 days to reply. Though they are doing this, but obviously you can fight it that you were not given a reasonable opportunity to present a case. So they have to ensure that they issue audit observation, give you 15 days time. Then they have to issue DRC01A, pre-consultancy notice. And after issuing that also, they have to give at least minimum 15 days or 7 days to give you the reply. So they have to make sure by 31st August, they conclude their audit observation or discrepancy, whatever is it, so that show cause notice can be issued by 30th September. Otherwise, it will become time barred under 73 and it can't be done. For 74, different timeline is running. For 18-19, it got over for issuance of show cause notice. But from 19-20, it is still there under 74, fraud case. Now, these are the few things which many people ask whether parallel proceeding can be done, whether at one side audit, another side investigation, another side scrutiny, because it is happening for one year, multiple notices are received. So parallel proceeding, though allowed under GST law, but it is said on the same subject matter, all can't do. So if all have issued on 2A versus 3B, all can't do. So you can inform to the officer that this is what the scenario is. And now officer also understands. So you can also write a letter to them stating that I have been selected for audit, I have been selected for investigation, scrutiny. So all you can write about that in letter and address to whoever has issued you for the same period. Based on their discussion, they themselves are like deciding that, okay, I will not do or I will do limited to this. And other are dropping. So though it is allowed, but officer understand and sometimes they drop this parallel proceeding. Can multiple period can be covered under audit? Means we have seen the cases where it comes for 1 year, 21, 22. But there are also cases where it comes for 4 years together. Can it be done? Answer is yes. Even for multiple periods also, one audit can be done. But show cause notice is to be issued year-wise. One single show cause notice cannot be issued for all the year clubbed together. Because multiple High Court decision has come that show cause notice should be issued year-wise because show cause notice issuance is linked to due date of annual return. So multiple period audit can be done. Now, what would happen if I don't comply with the audit notice? Nothing. They will issue you a one endorsement or one GST notice saying that if you will not comply, this will be the penalty consequences. So they will cite the penalty consequences under 125, general penalty 50K, 122, which says about tax evasion, 100% of tax evasion for non-furnishing of document. So that also they can invoke. And what they will do, then whatever records or data available with them, based on that, they will issue the audit observation and audit report. So if you don't comply, based on data available, they will go ahead. And from audit also, they can put you to the investigation also. They might shift you to the inspection and search if you are non-cooperative. So that can also happen. Now, when I started my audit session, one word I said it can happen of a registered person. Now, there may be a situation that you were registered, but it is mostly in construction line what it has seen that for one project, they form one company, and after that is done, they close it down, they surrender it. Also, there are cases where the person were engaged in some service industry, and after their turnover came below 20, they surrender it. So it may be a case when for the audit period, they are asking you to do the uh, audit, that time you were registered. As on today date, you are unregistered. So the question which arises whether they can do the audit, now it has been read in two way by two different high courts. So they said at the time when they have selected the period at the time when you were registered, so they can do the audit. But another one is it is a continuous. So if you are not registered today, you can't do the audit. But obviously, department is proceeding with the fact whether you got subsequently unregistered doesn't matter. If you were registered for the audit period selected, they are conducting the audit for it. So with this, we came to the end of our first session. If anybody has any query, they
So anyone, any questions to ask, any points that you would want to, or the audits that you have faced, something you have noticed you want to check? Okay. Now, a couple of points I would like to make it very clear, saying that what everyone is clear as of now is some basic provisions of the law, and including you and me, right? I'm including myself in it. I really don't know as the progress happens, the different interpretations coming up, different things. Classic thing, the parallel proceedings. State government says, or the department say, no, we have the authority, we will do a parallel proceeding, right? And we have very good case law that had come recently, and which we will include in one of the learning sessions. The point which I want to drive is attending sessions like this will give us a different perspective, different thing, and also keep the session interactive, whether big, small, make your point, whether you are there at that point of the session, you didn't understand, maybe you can ask for some other point, or you have faced something and you may check that is it really allowed, eligible, how do we handle it, have it, your questions be resolved, right? With this, we have come to the end of the first technical session. And thank you, Ashika, for dwelling through the various provisions of the audit and looking at how we have to be ready when a department officer is coming. Fundamentally, I want you to tell that you shouldn't be worried. Yeah, that's the only thing. Rest, there are many things we can be taking care. Now I invite Shishir to the second part of the discussion today, which is on use of technology, use of AI. And Shishir has been the head engineering at GST Zen. So he's been part of very many technology initiatives, many things that he's been training the team on various aspects. So Shishir, over to you. Shishir, you're on mute.
So sorry, I was speaking on mute. Is my screen visible to everybody?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let's get started then. Before get started, hi everybody. I would like to get some highs from you also. So can you can drop your highs in the chat? I just want to make sure that you're all, you know, had your coffee and are energetic right now. Can I get some highs in the chat, please? Hi, Gauri.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, again, I'm getting a lot of highs and thumbs up. Okay, I guess everybody had their coffee then. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Then let's get started. Let me just go back to my screen. Great. Today I'm going to give you a presentation, a small presentation to be very honest, on how to learn finance with AI. Right now, before we get started, Venu sir gave me a very good introduction about myself. I'm just adding upon to that. My name is Shishir, as you all heard. I'm the head of engineering at CloudZen Software Labs. Currently, I'm driving 4 products which you might or may not have heard of: GST Zen, V Audit, Pepilio, Desk Audit. If you've heard of it, thanks. If you've not heard of it, I'll do a small promo. Please take a look at it. I'm also alumnus of ISB. I've done a course of called Management Essentials from there. What I drive at my work is a blend of leadership, product strategy, and engineering. I'm also a technical creator of V Audit. I built the software from ground up when we were ideating that. I also have around 5 years of plus experience in technology and engineering. So getting to the session of it, what is really AI? What is it? Just robots taking over us, or is it them taking and controlling what we do, or is it more than that? Can I get some answers from the crowd? Like anybody of you who wants to answer it can take the raise your hands. We can unmute you and we can get some answers. Anybody? We have 19 people in the team. Or I will just call out names. I don't mind. Maybe we can get something from Rajesh Yen. Rajesh, could you share your thoughts? Okay. The question was, what do you think AI is? Is it something that is taking over us? Is it just robots that are taking over us? What do you feel AI is? Kavita, Rajesh, Ajay, anybody can, you can just raise your hands, we'll unmute you. Maybe Ashika can take a look, take a dig at it. Ashika, what do you think AI is? Ashika?
She's not at the seat.
Okay, no problem. Anybody else who wants to take this?
There are some replies in the chat.
Okay, let me go through it. Human intelligence through artificial means. Small things are getting automated. Okay. Repeat the question. Okay, Gauri, you can take up the audio. You can unmute. Stephen, can we unmute Gauri? We can have an answer from Gauri.
Hi, Shishir.
Hi, Gauri.
Yeah. So, according to me, artificial intelligence is something like it's a kind of machine, not machine exactly. It's a replica of human intelligence. You can say it is mimicking, it is doing mimicry of human intelligence based on the what past coding we have done for that software.
Right, more past coding that we have done for the software, right? So yeah, that's a very good answer. Like, let me explain what, according to what is AI actually. No, AI is not planning for world domination. It is not going to take over the world anytime soon. It can happen. I don't know. But again, actually AI, artificial or AI or artificial intelligence is a smart software that can learn from data, understand pattern, and solve problem. What do I mean by that? Let's say, giving a human example, how do you know that putting your hand in the fire burns your hand? You either have experienced it, or have you seen somebody else doing it, or on the newspaper or somebody else, right? You have understood, learned the data, you have understood the data, and you've understood this pattern, that if it is understood that multiple people have done it and multiple people have burned their hand. That's why you know that its probability of that happening is there, 100% there. That is a solution that you're trying to solve. Similarly, the software is also, AI is also similar, where it is understanding certain things and identifying pattern and the probability of that happening, and giving you solution based on it. It is nothing more, nothing less. Rather than having a lot of if else then. What I mean by that, if this happens, then what? Writing into the code, that smart people have come up with the idea where the software can understand from the data, if this happens, then what might happen, or what is the next probable action or a text that has to come. This is basically what, on a general time, AI is. I'm not going to go to the nitty gritty of it and how that is done, but then you can understand this is what the general meaning of AI is. What is it to have an AI around you? It is like having a nerd assistant that helps you do all your work with which knows almost anything in the world, and which never sleeps or asks for a leave. It is wonderful, right? Like, you pay some $20 and you get somebody who has all the information. Like, you might have friends that have a set of information from one person, or a set of good information from another person, but one person can't know everything, but AI is solving that person. But again, I'm still saying world domination is not yet there. It might happen. So, as the meme says, thank ChatGPT after every conversation. Maybe when the time comes, it may not hurt you, right? So AI was always around. Like, when do you think AI actually came into existence? AI's foundations were formed in 1940. That is around 85 years back. AI is not something that popped up in the world in, let's say, in the last 5 years or 10 years. It has been there for 85 years. The foundations were set. There was a lot of evolution. Some of the things that you might know and have been using, were already there before you actually heard the term AI in general public, were something like Alexa, Siri, Google Assistant. I think everybody here would have used either of these three, Alexas or Google Assistants, at some point of their life. These are also AI. These are also fundamentally using artificial intelligence to understand what you're telling and reply you back. Right? Even your Netflix suggestions, or Amazon order suggestion, the recommendations that you get when you buy something or watch something to watch more or to buy something else, is based on artificial intelligence. One of the lifesaver that has been there for a very long time is spam filters. When you look at your inbox, you see promotions, spam, you see updates. And how do you think all these categorizations happen for decades now? These are using machine learning or AI to do these segregation or separation. Now I want to hear from the crowd, uh, what are what are you using on AI? I just want to understand, what are you using in the AI? Why don't a couple of you just answer me? What are you using? Like, are you using ChatGPT? Are you using something AI in your work to automate certain part of your task? Is there anybody that would like to answer this question? ChatGPT, Perplexity, very nice. Claude, okay. Copilot, very interesting. I think everybody here have used ChatGPT. I don't think is there anybody who has not used ChatGPT? It's hard to believe in this day and age who have not used ChatGPT, but again, I'm just prompting the question here. Okay, great. Can any two of you come out and say, let's say I want to hear from Kavita. How do you use perplexity? It's interesting. How do you use perplexity in your day-to-day life?
Actually, from 2 days back, I was using for the some suggestions. Okay, some answers. So from 2 days onwards only, I am using that one.
Right. I've also saw Savita, you didn't finish your answer. How are you using perplexity?
Uh, for some suggestions, some doubts, clarifications.
Nice. How do you feel about using perplexity?
But
What is
I
your
am
output so far?
see, I am not 100% based on that one. I know, but I need the 100%. I mean, whatever I am thinking is the correct or wrong. That is the
Right.
reason. Just for the checking purpose, I was using that one.
Great, great. Can I get Claude? Sounds interesting. Gauri, what do you use Claude for?
Uh,
What is the use case that you are using?
so recently I used Claude, but not for the official purpose. I used for my son who was using Access YouTube and other apps. So I used that and I understood how to block on the Wi-Fi. So I have blocked it.
Oh, nice. Okay. Okay. Different use case. Ajay, how are you using Copilot? Like, let's hear of what use cases Ajay is using it for.
Yeah, I use my Copilot to reply drafting and summarize the case laws and everything.
From the Office 365, right?
Yes.
Great, great. Okay, so everybody here, I think more or less have used AI. So everybody is an AI expert because,
Shishir, I
yeah.
used Claude also for doing one, just a beginner to understand how it works, that CMD and all.
Mm-hmm.
For building one, this thing, one use case was like what happens when we do audit report now every year. So
Right.
everywhere same audit report is there with some changes of the year or the some points. So it there can be any typing error by the articles or assistants. So what I have I have made we made it that we fit some minimal data like name, year, partner who is signing, firm number, and the entire audit report comes same. Unqualified report I'm talking about.
That's a very good use case to solve. Something that is boring, that is can be handed over to somebody else, which is better somebody who can do it on a Scrum level. It can be automated with AI. That's a very good use case that you've shared with us, Gauri. Thank you so much for the reply. Okay. Now moving forward, going back to the presentation. Okay. Next question is why learn finance with AI, right? What do you get? Well, why is there not other ways to learn finance nowadays? I think it's been always there. What does AI give you that the normal some people could not give, right? So an instant answers. I think people who come from my generation or before would understand this frustration when you have to find one answer. You used to dig into 10 different tabs to understand and validate the answer that you're getting on internet is right or wrong, right? That was so frustrating because you have to go through each articles, each details, and then read it, then understand it, then see whether it is correct or wrong. So what AI does is AI accumulate all these answers and give the median answer which it feels that is correct. So in most cases, often than not, AI will be correctly giving you a suggestion or the way to learn a topic and information about a topic which is relevant, which is simple, which is easy to understand, right? So also it creates a personal tutor that won't sigh or judge your fifth doubt in 2 minutes, right? What happens is when you are, let's say you are an article and you are trying to understand a concept. If you go to a senior and ask the same doubt or a different doubts for the same topic 10 times, anybody would be frustrated. Anybody would scold you or judge you saying that why are you not understanding this concept which is supposed to be easy for them. AI will not judge you for it. You can ask 100 doubts for the same concept. You can go deeper. You can understand the concept to a very minute level and still the AI will go on giving you information that can make you learn a lot of this, learn you a lot of this information without judging you or without getting tired of answering you, right? It can also answer, it can also give you answer like you're a 5 years old or like you're an ancient. The way that you can, the way that the information has to be passed on can be a different to an article or and to a CFO or to a finance account person. Every person is different. Every person's knowledge gap is different. Every person's understand capability is different. So AI can, if you give the right tone to the AI, then it will be able to answer you the same concepts in multiple tones, in multiple technical jargons that can make you understand the concept much easily and a much divided fashion for that particular crowd that you're explaining to. It can also help you practice problems with step-by-step solution. When you maybe when I've seen my brother, I'm a technical person, but my brother is an studied accounts. He used to do this step-by-step process of solving problems when he was doing his BCom. Now, when we can give these problems to the AI and tell it to teach you by step on each level when you're balancing a PNL or something, to give you a more detailed information, how does this step-by-step process happen and what are the important information that you have to look for when solving a problem, right? These are the way that AI can help you learn finance better. Now, how to actually learn with AI, right? First thing first, don't just copy paste, converse with AI. What do I mean by converse? Treat AI like a study partner, not a shortcut dealer. What I mean by that is you should not expect an answer that is ready for pasting into a solution, right? You should rather converse or ask questions that give you information or knowledge about a concept, then you can, which you can make into a comprehensive solution or a text or a content and then paste it somewhere else. So ask questions like, for an example, explain NPV with an example. It will give you an example, it will give you an explanation, learn about it. Then whatever solution you want, you can take that and paste it. Without learning it, don't paste it. Ask why, not just what. What I mean by that is you need to converse asking why this particular step has come, or why should I do this, why this particular steps is involved in this particular procedure. For example, why cash flow can be positive even when the profit is negative. It can give you a solution, it can give you something. Now you have a doubt, now you should ask why. You need to understand why it is doing this. Makes your learning experience better. It gives you information which you can relate to and connect to rather than just copy pasting. You can also use AI to summarize chapter, quiz yourself, like mainly for articles. Let's say they're coming up with exams, then you can use AI to quiz yourself, which I'll show you in the session how you can do it. But again, you can quiz yourself, explain tough stuff in simple terms. Sometimes the concepts that are taught in the books or coaching books can be ridiculously tough for person who is not understanding the concept per se in the first attempt, right? These AIs can help you make this tough stuff very easy to understand. Now, what are some common mistakes people make when using AI? Let's say, to be put it bluntly, don't be that person, right? Firstly, as I said in the previous information, don't copy paste stuff. Whatever you get from ChatGPT is not always right. Don't always copy paste stuff. Read it, understand it, absorb the information. Stop asking three words question and expecting miracles. I will show you exactly what I mean by this in my practical session of the tools. But again, keep in mind that give me insights. What is this? How is this? Is not a good questions to ask AI without giving proper context of what you're looking for, right? And don't believe everything that the AI says. AI is smart, but it is not perfect, right? It can give you wrong answers. It can give you very off the chart answers, which is ridiculously false. And there's this concept called hallucination in AI world, which makes AI believe that whatever it is saying is correct, and it goes on a loop answer, giving that answer as the right one, which may not be correct. Sometimes it is like that friend who lies confidently after, especially after having two pecks, after in the night. So it can be very, very confident about what it is saying, but it can be devastatingly wrong about what it's answering for. So always cross check or double check facts, especially for serious stuff or stuff that needs validation and can cause problems if it is not proper. some real life wins at work while using AI, right? How can people in the finance industry use AI? Tax consultants can use AI to interpret new GST/income tax notifications, right? They need not go through multiple, circulars to understand things. They can summarize this concept very easily and then understand the concept without going through 20, 30 pages of briefings in just 10 minutes. Auditors can use AI tool to automate ledger scrutiny, ratio analysis, detect red flags in minutes instead of hours. Again, I will show you this in my presentation. I mean, in my practical session. But this is some one of the use case that an auditor can use the AI for. Again, coming to the main and the last scale of people that can use the AI is the CA students who can use AI to understand complex case laws, understand standards, learns faster without slogging through 10 coaching books. Basically, you need not go through hundreds and hundreds of textbooks to learn a simple concept. Rather, use AI to combine the 10 books to answer you very simply. Again, this will be shown in the practical session, but this is one of the use cases that can be used by the CA students. Right. Again, now coming to finance advisors can use AI to prepare client-ready reports and insights. But this can replace manual number crunching with the strategy, right? You not need 20 people to prepare your client reports. Rather, you can use AI. You can summarize and do these jobs in seconds or minutes when you given enough context to it. So yeah, these are some ways that you can inculcate AI in your day-to-day work. Now, some of the tips to level up your AI skill is one very, very, very important tip is to be very specific about what you want. You every time AI is again to be put it out blunt, AI is not God. AI can't read your thoughts. You need to be precise on what you are expecting from it, right? For example, explain deferred tax with real world balance sheet example is a very precise question. Then teach me accounting. Teach me account can be 10 different things. AI can take in different context of accounting, because accounting is a very large concept. But when you want to learn deferred tax, you need to make it ask that you explain deferred tax. Try different tones. As I said previously, you can use different tones to understand information in different ways. Like for example, explain like I'm a new CA article assistant. Can give you answer in a very toned down fashion without a lot of technical jargons involved. But when you're summarizing this audit report like a briefing to a CFO, then all these technical jargons can come into play, because it can increase the amount of information that you can feed to CFO by introducing technical terms in between. So you need to know the audience that you are looking out for. So use different tones to be very precise to make your answer different as per your need, right? You can also stack multiple tasks in a single query to make AI think about the context of it. Again, I will show you this in the practical session, but keep in mind you can also stack multiple tasks such as summarize this GST notification, create revision notes, quiz me with 3 practical case questions, etc., right? Now, what does future of AI learning at work look like?
Shishir, sorry, can you just go to the previous slide?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so one thing, a new learning for all of us is the way Shishir has explained is one important point. It is an artificial intelligence, but it cannot read your mind. You have to ask to it whatever you want, and who you are also, you have to give it to them. And if I have to say, when you are prompting, you have to be very clear. Let's say I am a CA final student. I am studying on this topic, let's say called GST. And in GST, I am not understanding what input tax credit would work. Okay, that's what you told. But you did not ask it what aspect of input tax credit doesn't work, you don't know. Maybe you're not doing section 16, 17, 18, 19 or rule 36 up until rule 44. What you don't know, you are not specifying. So you further specify that I don't understand in terms of the, let's say, job work or ISD distribution. I want you to explain me for this. Give me an examples of it. So create all the aspects for it. It has to be crisp but detailed. You don't need to write a story, but you have got to give all the points for it to really understand, and it can tell you what you want, right? Like you're asking it to summarize a GST notification, but you can also give it that give me an example where this is applicable, where this is not applicable. Is there any implication of the existing provision which is getting changed? I have a client who is in this business. Is this relevant to them? It's like you've got to interact with learning. We definitely have to take from this session that it cannot read your mind. You got to be vocal and clear about what you want from it. So do not make an assumption saying that, okay, I said I don't know this, so it has to, it will give you something, but it will also not give you a precise answer. The more clear you are with it, the more clear responses that you will get. I'm happy different people are using the different tools. After the session, you start looking at giving a prompt in a generic way and give a prompt specific asking to your question, to your case or everything. You look at the tone of the answer that it gets changed. Yes, Shishir, please go.
Adding to Venu, sir, again, that will be shown in the practical presentation. I'll give you and this thing for it. But going for here, done. Like, what does future of AI learning at work with AI would look like? See, these are some of the examples. This can go way off from this because AI is evolving every day. But again, the AI is moving towards agentic view. What is agentic thing? AI can be an agent that does a very particular task, right? So one of such use cases is role-aware AI tutor, where the AI can teach you very specific skill for you, like teaching you an Excel or teaching you a different agent teaching you an Excel, different agent teaching you, let's say GST, a different agent teaching you ITR. So basically, these are like your teachers that work 24/7. You can ask any question about the topic to them, and they can evaluate where you stand about that topic, right? It can make you a master of that topic. So this is one way that the AI could be used at work for this. Simulated practices. So basically, you can converse with the AI for preparing yourself with the practice client meetings, to practice preparing an P&L report, to practice giving interviews at a CFR or a Big Four. So it can help you prepare for stuff by simulating the real world example, asking it to be let's say, asking it to be an interviewer from a Big Four firm, and you being an article that want to interview you, it can ask you right set of questions to prepare yourself for that particular experience, right? It can create the simulation that is required. Personalized learning path. So it can help grow you from a CA article to a partner from each step of the processes, and it can give you in each step, like let's say from a CA article, it can give you different insight for an associate, it can give you different insight for a manager, different insight, a partner, different insight for each level of a growing step. It can give you an insight of how we can be better at that particular role to grow into the future roles, right? It can help you grow into that part. So that is one use case of it. It can also help you in sorry for that, for bite-sized learning. What I mean by that is that, let's say you are on a lunch break and you want to quickly do a 2 minutes understanding of a particular ITR information. Then you can just say, hey, I have 5 minutes or 2 minutes. Can you give me a brief understanding of this ITR topic that I want to learn? And it can give you concisely enough information that you can consume under that duration of the small duration that you have to finish reading that. So yeah, so this is one of the use cases that you can use AI for. Right now, that ends my theory of most tools that of AI that I have. So we will get into the Q&A later down the line, but I want to suggest some of the tools that you can go today and check out. One is ChatGPT. Obviously, everybody would have definitely checked this out and used this by enough. Another very underrated tool that I highly recommend that you can go and check it out is Google Notebook LLM. Again, I'll show you a demonstration of this as well. But if I feel that it's very highly underrated and can be used very efficiently. Again, there's a tool called as Notion.ai. It is a productivity tool, but it can use AI to summarize content, get action items basically plan out your day in a very productive way where you can utilize your time in right effective manners by using AI. Again, GitHub Copilot is an AI pair programming coding assistant where you can code, right? Basically, everybody is coding. Like I have known Venu sir for a very long time now. Venu sir codes every time with AI. I have met a lot of my colleagues who are into sales, support, and all other people are using Copilot and other coding platforms to code, because coding has at this point has become like a natural language. What you can converse with an AI to build something, it pretty much can build you simple tools to make your life easier. To be very honest, I'm scared about my job, but keeping that aside, the Copilot and many other tools that help you in coding can help you visualize that idea that you had running for like 5 years, 6 years, that you wanted to build a small tool for yourself, but you don't know coding. That can be solved using this AI pair programming tools or AI that is present in the world. Right now, I will quickly jump and show you how to use ChatGPT the right way. To be very honest, okay. Uh, okay, I'll share my entire screen. Okay. Right. So I have this. Vanessa, tell me if the financials are up.
Yeah, visible.
Yeah. So this is the financials that I have of one of the companies, an example company that I have, which has balance sheet, profit and loss, trial balances, notes, your typical Schedule 3 report that you have. Right now, I will take that report. I will not show you the entirety of it because it will take some time. But I've already generated some, sorry, one chat with ChatGPT that I want to display to you, which can give you an example of what I'm trying to explain when I'm saying don't give 3-word answer, right? So let's say I've given this, uploaded this schedule 3, and I've said give me insight. Now what happens? It starts going through the sheet. It gives you irrelevant information that you already know, and then takes insights from it. It gives you 3 lines. Then again, it will ask you whether you have to go in more detail. If I say yes, it goes and give me insights. I'm not saying these insights are bad. I'm saying these insights are pretty good. I mean, the ChatGPT team has done a wonderful job trying to analyze what you are asking it to do and give you insight. These insights are good, but where was it something that you're looking for typically? I believe not. This is not something that you would want to look on a day-to-day basis. You don't want to go in a rapid hole, trying to get the right information for the question that you are having, that you are trying to get out of from AI. So, what should be the right approach, right? Now, this is the right approach. Now, I've uploaded the same schedule 3 information here, but my prompt is very, what do you say, contextual. I've given you all the information that I want. Like let's say this is an Excel file consisting of schedule 3 compliant financial data, including profit and loss, balance sheet, and trial balance. Please analyze the file and provide me with the following: data validation and consistency checks, whether the trial balance tallies, check if the balance sheet balances, reconcile P&L with trial balances, flag any missing or misqualified accounts or Schedule 3 requirements, important insights and analytics, key ratios, trend analysis, वगैरह वगैरह वगैरह. As you can read, I have given multiple things that I want on a final level grouping, that somebody less an article prepared this financials for me and I want to analyze it before I sign it off, right? So this is my prompt. This is what I want to understand and look at, but you do not have the time to do it, right? If you go and do all these things, I think you need at least 3-4 hours or 5 hours, whatever that is, to understand, do all the stuff that is present here. But AI can do, like AI took what, 10, 20, let's say 2 minutes of its time, and it gave me a trend analysis that I was looking for. It gave me a validation of financials, and it gave me what is matching, what is wrong, mismatch between total assets and total liability balance, where which is remarks, which year it is, what is the right way of looking at it. Then it also looked at ratio analysis and gave me some information. The red flags, I asked it for to flag anything that is, and flags and anonymous that is present. It found that high receivable days, working capital is high. It also gives me revenue versus receivable. It has why it matters. It also gives me context of why it matters. Like imagine, it gives you why it thinks it is an anomaly, right? It's saying that higher fixed, what is this? A sharp increase in long-term borrowing. It says higher fixed obligations, check convenient and interest cost trajectory, validate deployment into productive assets. All this information are very highly informatic than what it gave on the topper level. Than this is good information, but this is better information. So the bet, and when you go forward, it also gives me data validations and consistency check. It checks whether this is matching. It says it is an exact match. It also gives me an important insights, revenue growth, scale and growth, what is the total asset, that how much the total asset has grown, long-term borrowing has gone, short-term borrowing has grown. This information is very helpful when you take a look at it from a higher view rather than the information that it was able to give in the first place. So that is the reason that I'm saying that don't give 3-word questions. Rather, it is very important to come up with prompts that can be reused and reapplicable for different purposes, and give you better context of what you want. So you need to give more context of what you want. Say, for example, final summary indicated that trial balance, period tally, and PL and requirements did not match. There is mapping issues in other current liabilities, shows negative in this and this. So all this information can be very helpful if you give the right amount of context to it. Another example that I want to give is for notices, right? I have a notice here. I have taken this notice. 1 second, I'm just sorry. Did the sharing stop, sir?
Yeah, the sharing got stopped.
1 second. Okay, this is one of the notice that I have, right? It is around 4 or 6 pages of notice that I have. Now, I don't want to go through the entirety of it. Rather, I want to go just understand what is it about. So I said, again, I started with a 3-word question. What should I do with this? Right? It is brilliant. To be very honest, it is brilliant. Again, it gives issue raised to the notices, reply already submitted, next step should take, final obligations, risk mitigation subject, suggested action plan. It is decent. But let's say I gave something like this. This is a document. This document is a notice from GST department. Please summarize the notice in simple term. What is the issue is, what is the section it has to refer to, what department is asking for, identify deadlines, response date, payment due timelines, compliance, classify the type, highlight risk, suggest what actions should be taken, give a step-by-step action plan to what I should do next. Right now, it gives you a very crisp and right answer. What is the notice says? It shows it's a show cause notice. Deadline, when is the deadline here? Classification, it shows DRC01. Under section, it gives what is the turnover action it gives. What are the risks that are involved? It says confirmation of tax and interest penalty, etc., etc. Now it also gives you what to do now. You have to see evidence pack of purchase discount and credit note. What has to be done? Now, all I'm saying is this information is nice, but this information, the second information that it gives with the context that I've given is precise for what I want. So the more information that you give it, the better the output of the chat GPT is. So you need to give it right context of what is required and tell what is in your mind, that or what you are looking forward, for it to give a very concise and precise answer of what you're looking in. Right? So next, another tool that I wanted to show you, and which I felt is very underrated and people should know about, is this thing, Notebook LLM from Google. Now, what is Notebook LLM? It is just a study tool that Google has released. What you can do here is, you can do a lot of fun stuff, to be very honest. What it starts with by adding documents. You can add whatever documents or resources or sources that you have into this particular notebook that you create of. Like you can create multiple notebooks. Let's say GST is here GST is one notebook that I've created. Right? Let's say I have multiple here. I have GST in startup. I have just GST learn business model. Okay. I can create one if I want to. Right? Now I'll take GST here. Right? What you can do is you can take whatever source of information that you can and add to the source level. You can upload a document here. You can connect it to a Google Drive. You can link it to a link websites. You can link YouTube channels. You can paste the document. you upload approximately 50 in the free version. You get 50 sources that you can connect to, right? Once you have connected the source, the funds begins. Now, what you can do with this is you can ask any questions that you can like in ChatGPT, how you can ask questions. Ask whatever questions that you want here in the chat, right? And that is beautiful. That is what ChatGPT also gives. You may ask what is special. The special thing about is you can create multiple other things. You can create, let's say, I firstly I want to show you mind maps. So for this particular information, now you can go and read about mind maps. What it will help you is to divide or segregate the topics that you have to learn into right mapping, where it will give you what you have to learn for each section of the part. As you can see in my screen, each of these targeted areas can be then subdivided into multiple core concepts that you can learn individually on a day-to-day basis. The moment I selected something, it gives you a particular question about learning about that particular information, right? Now, you can go through each individual information and learn about it in a core level. This is mind mapping. Now we can also ask about timelines. When you ask for a timeline information, especially in a place where you want to read about times like in a history level detail, it can give you a timeline based information that you can segregate on date level and understand the concept. Now, what else does it give? It can give you a study guide, it can give an FAQ, it can, like, for example, here is a full-on study guide that it created with quizzes. Now, if you want to prepare for your articleship, it can be a very beautiful tool where you upload all your study material here and ask, quiz me, right? It can ask you n number of questions and you can study on particular topic. You can also select one topic and say quiz about this thing to me, and then it will can ask you, or it can give you that information relevant to only that topic. Like now you have, if you have to do this elsewhere, I think in the coaching centers and stuff, you have to pay thousands and thousands of money just to quiz yourself and get yourself prepared. These tools can help you prepare for all the examination that are required. It can also create a briefing document, a study guide, FAQ, and a timeline. Another beautiful concept of this is podcasting, right? When you click an audio here, it can create, like, let's say if you create an audio overview, it creates an audio podcast for you. I don't think my system will play it for you. I will play it from my phone to just show you how
It would, Shishir, when you play, you just in the down, share the computer audio settings, share the computer volume, it would be there.
Okay, sir. 1 second. I think it is not playing at this point.
It is playing, but the voice is not coming. And
Okay, let me it same as system speaker, sir.
Yeah. Right now it's not playing. Maybe you can come to the starting. It is stopped.
Think I'll just play it from my phone.
Yeah, okay.
It's generating. Okay, but
Can I play? Let me share the screen and
sure.
screen visible. Okay, so just the new income tax act that came up. So in the meantime, I'll also give the mind map. So
A sprawling blueprint for how every single rupee earned.
is the voice audible?
in India.
Yeah, it is a little maky, so but then
It's
audible.
for getting a total overhaul, like a foundational rewrite. It
Better.
is every person, every business. Well, guess what? That's not hypothetical anymore. That blueprint is here. It's official. And it's active right now. Today, we're diving deep into a really, really important document, India's Income Tax Act 2025. And this isn't just some minor tweak. This act, number 30 of 2025, got the president's okay on August
So the
20.
audio that you're listening is real time, right? That it was created from the document.
Students.
If it, the document, the audio was created real time from that information that you had, and it is very interactive. It feels like any other podcast that you listen in the internet. It doesn't feel boring at any point. They've also released a video overview where it will give you a PPT like presentation with the audio present to it. And it is also something very, very nice. You can go across it, use this tool and see how you like it. It can what you can ramp your learning ability from 10x to 100x in under 10 minutes if you're using tools like this, right? Now going back to the presentation, that are the two tools that I had that I wanted to present to you guys to improve your way of learning with ChatGPT. Now, ChatGPT and Notebook LLM are the tools that I wanted to show. Now, what is my stand with AI is AI will not replace you. AI will never replace you at this point. But a person using AI will, definitely will. Because his work will be 10x more than what you do and 10x more proficient than what you do and can save a lot of time for the employer who he is working for. So the person using AI will definitely replace you if you're not using the tools rightly. So the future belongs to those who embrace it, not resist it. So stop resisting it, thinking that your job it is a risk. Rather, embrace the tools that are coming, embrace the technology that you are being offered to, and start using it. Then you can also 10x your productivity at work by using tools like this, right? So that is all from me. If you have any questions that you wanted to ask, you can ask the questions now. You can unmute yourself and ask the questions, or you can raise a hand. You can also drop it in the chat if you want. If you have any questions on any tools or AI, you can ask it here. Okay. I think that concludes my session. Thank you for listening for the session. This is Shishir again. So these are the way that you can contact me if you have any doubts on the AI. This is my LinkedIn profile and my mail. Thank you Venu sir and Stephen and Ashika for giving me the opportunity for present my session. Thank you everybody for listening.
Thank you so much, Shishir, and thank you everyone for your
Sir,
interest. Any questions?
yes, sir, yes, sir, in the chat.
Yeah. How can you make a custom chat GPT? Okay, so inside the chat GPT, you have an option to create your own GPTs. You can do that. Rajesh, are you exploring any training on any model at your place? Yes, Rajesh. So we consistently look at the different AI tools for the office. We keep doing it. And some of the members explained on Claude. I would suggest you should take up exploring Claude for simple VBA scripts. In fact, even ChatGPT also gives you good, but Claude, it has more connection with GitHub and it gives you more programming related questions better.
Sir, my question was, are you training any local models, to ensure some, because, as I attended these sessions in Institute of late,
Correct.
people are directing more about the privacy issues and
yeah, so you
bringing
need to
up
redact the files before uploading to the GPT. You can create some redacting tools and you should be able to do it.
Okay, so as such, you're not yet working on any local models, sir, as of now?
No, our machines are, if you start running a small language model on your machine, your battery of laptop, which comes for 2 years, will get drained in 3 months.
That's right, sir. But okay, sir, fair enough.
The cost for the hardwares are very expensive, Rajesh, to be very honest. yeah, the reason Nvidia boomed so much, became so much big, because they are giving that infrastructure, right?
Yes, yes.
So the GPUs that are required, the infra that is required to run these models are very high. You can definitely try it in good machines like Mac and all that. You can run it, but yeah, it is very difficult to train your own model. But then there's a concept called as RAG, which you
Correct.
can create a model in between the LLMs and your questions to create to get rid of the security concerns. It kind of creates that security layer in between, which can handle your create your own local models.
Yeah. So currently I'm trying to explore this MTP and RAG concepts, trying to access my local files and trying to build something on with the
Right.
cloud desktop, and which I got to know recently through the AI hackathon.
Right.
So have you guys worked on any of these things, or if you
See,
can
there
help me
are
with any of
some
the
general there are some proprietary information works that are going on that we're currently trying to implement. But on a general terms, yeah, we are trying to create some models. I mean, some layers that can help us to in GST Zen, we are for some reconciliation purposes, or identifying notices and summarizing and giving you better information. All this information can be created and simplified with AI models. The thing that also has to be considered is that just because AI is there, we should not throw it at everything. Find the right use cases and then deploy it.